everybody? Welcome into the Casual Sports Podcast. Hey, we got another extra body here on a Monday. Alec Caberna is in here joining with us, and he's normally not here, but he's here now because, well, why not?
Yeah, Matt's audio is going to crap as he's talking.
Are you serious?
Dude, it literally sounds like some kind of like techno music crap. Like, I don't know.
I'll be right back.
Imagine the worst techno music you've ever heard, and that's what it sounds like. So I guess
he's been pretty good lately. I'll give him that. He's been good lately.
Yeah, he has held on. Don't know what his audio problems are today.
He was due for
let's get him back in here.
How's that?
Well, you sound good for the moment. So.
All right. It's just not my day, man.
Start this thing off here. Adam Schefter just dropped this one a couple minutes ago. The Steelers have declined to pick up the fifth-year option on linebacker Devin Bush. He will now be playing on an expiring contract.
I knew they'd do that.
How much you want to bet he holds out now? Demands a trade.
Yeah, that's probably.
I don't think Devin Bush is going to be a Steeler in 4 months.
No.
Hey, you know what? I stuck up for him because he was coming back hurt last year. I mean, I got on him for not making plays, Matt, but he was coming back from an ACL injury. So it'd be nice to see what he can do, but it's going to be kind of interesting to see what he does now.
I mean, he's got to play really hard for them to sign him back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, kind of unfortunate, though, for Steelers fans. I mean, this is a linebacker core that, I mean, you look back a couple of years ago, it was probably up there with the very best in all of football.
Yeah.
I don't know. It really feels like the defense for Pittsburgh has really started slipping off. I mean, you look at where they were 2 years ago, compare them to a season ago, and you would think it was two completely different defenses. Even with T.J. Watt putting together a Defensive Player of the Year season, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense was still among the worst in the NFL.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a drop-off, man.
Worse. Yeah, watch our offense be really good, and our defense is going to stink. But our offense probably won't be good either, so I don't know.
I'd bet you differ.
Maybe. I mean, it'll be better since we don't have a 40-year-old quarterback.
You'll have a mobile quarterback, so you'll see how that works out. Steelers fans get to see somebody move around in the pocket for the first time in at least 10 years.
At least, because Ben was good at that back in the day.
Right. Okay, back in the day, he was good.
When he was younger, he could move just fine, but when he got up there, every time he ran, you just had to close your eyes and kind of peek your fingers like, no, please, just go down.
No, don't die.
Don't hurt your arm again or whatever.
Old crack of dust. You get out of bounds. Don't get hit.
It's just like in the movie The Longest Yard where the old man is running. Like, no, old man. Yeah.
He gets busted up. Yeah.
But, I mean, Matt, I sent in the group chat, too, earlier, Saints got Tyrann Mathieu. I think the Saints, I saw this morning, they were talking about some of the best teams in the NFC. I think if they can get healthy and bring back Winston and bring back Mike Thomas, and they just drafted another receiver.
Dude, if they had a healthy...
Did you see who Jameis Winston got intercepted in? He was hanging out at, like, the fan-controlled football. I don't know if it was before the game or halftime. He was just playing around with a couple of the guys, and Tyreek Hill was there. Tyreek Hill was playing, like, middle linebacker, and this ball from Jameis Winston thrown right over the middle, and he just intercepts this thing and takes it the other way.
Well, can you imagine him playing defense too? I mean, you're a quarterback going through your reads, pre-snap reads, and he comes out of nowhere just to pick a ball off because he's that fast.
Especially you put him back in like deep safety, and you just let him play back there. It's just kind of an ISO man. Once that ball is up, go. That speed is insane.
I mean, he could cover like 2/3 of the field.
Just like
Peppers back in college.
Do you remember that? Yeah. You remember that guy that played for Washington? Was it Darryl Green or something? The dude was like the fastest quarterback ever. Oh, look him up. It was like Darnell Green or Darryl Green, one of the two. But he was like one of the fastest cornerbacks ever. Like he caught up with Earl Thomas and even I think Bo Jackson. I think he caught Bo Jackson a couple times. He had speed. So maybe it'd be something like that.
It's hard. I haven't seen too many people with the speed of Tyreek Hill. So if he could play, if he was a defensive player, that'd be disgusting. You see what he does on offense. Like I said, he can pretty much cover that whole backside by himself because he's that fast.
Yeah. I mean, he's got all the tools for it. He would just need to, he already reads the quarterback to know where that ball is going out of the hands. He already tracks it down. He's already fighting with the defender for the ball. And I mean, the only difference is now you'd have to teach him how to drop back and get into coverage, which probably won't be too hard. A little bit more twisting of the hips, but I mean, if you're going to have him sit back there in coverage, it won't matter. Put him deep enough, he'll cover it.
Yeah, but I again with Tyrann Mathieu, I know we were just talking about him, and Jameis, you were just talking about him getting picked off by Tyreek Hill. I think the Saints got something going. If they can get healthy, and they got two good receivers that both went to the same college, were with each other. Well, not with each other, but they both know each other well. So that
both superstars from the same college and pretty much back-to-back superstars.
Yeah.
Just imagine if this team had a healthy Drew Brees again. Like, this would be a top Super Bowl contender right now. But you have Jameis Winston.
Which I don't hate. I mean, Jameis Winston healthy is still a phenomenal quarterback.
Yeah.
He's no Drew Brees, but he got two good, really good receivers, athletic receivers. And
here's the thing, though. In the last, 6-7 years of Drew Brees' career, what did he really do? And, that's an insult. He was a good quarterback.
That's why I said young Drew Brees.
Tell me, when was the last time Drew Brees won?
2009.
Important?
That's Super Bowl, right?
2009.
Yeah, what?
So
2009.
Years ago?
Oh, geez. Yeah. That was bad.
I'm just saying, I mean,
hey, they got there's some calls that got rigged.
Yeah, there was. I'll give you that. But out of any quarterback in NFL history, when you put the greats up there, if you put top 10 quarterbacks in NFL history, would you put Drew Brees up there? Top 10 all time. He's got the records too.
Yeah, I'd put him up there.
Okay, well then if you're putting up there top 10, if he's up there with 10 other guys in a fantasy draft where all those guys are available at their prime, at their healthiest, Drew Brees is going 10th out of those 10 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think there's little argument there.
A lot of playoff meltdowns, that's for sure.
Because, playoff meltdowns. He had phenomenal teams with phenomenal records and phenomenal players with phenomenal coaching and went nowhere.
Yeah. I mean,
the New Orleans Saints teams can be credited as some of the most disappointing teams in NFL history.
Oh, yeah. Especially his last couple his chances in playoffs, meltdowns. I mean, they were literal meltdowns against the Vikings.
The Vikings. There was a Minnesota Miracle with Diggs. That was against the Saints, right?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was. But then there was the controversial
call. Terrible angle that safety took.
I know. There's that controversial call too that kept them from going to the Super Bowl
against the Rams, who then lost 13-3.
Yeah.
In one of the most unmemorable Super Bowls of all time.
That Super Bowl sucked.
I liked it. I liked the defense in it, but yeah, it did suck kind of in total.
I like the defense too, but don't sit here and tell me it was entertaining because it wasn't.
Right, it wasn't. If you like defense, you like the defensive side, but at the same time, you saw two terrible offenses do a whole lot of terrible.
Oh, God. The commercials were even terrible.
I don't even remember any of them.
It's one of the worst commercial years.
Huh?
That was one of the worst commercial years.
These past commercials were pretty good, though. I like this.
They were okay.
I listen. I like the Arnold Schwarzenegger Zeus commercial, and I like the whole bowling commercial with Peyton Manning and Jimmy Butler, and then they bring in Serena Williams at the end. That was pretty cool. I think it was the Michelob Ultra commercial. That was pretty good. But other than that, these commercials have blowed.
Good way to put it, Matt.
Well, here
we are sitting months away from the last Super Bowl, and we're still talking about it. So
yeah, I don't even know. You want to talk baseball?
You want to get into stuff recent? I mean, I think we're beating
a dead horse
baseball.
Here.
There's lots to go on recent. We got 2 different playoffs going on tonight alone.
So,
or we could just sit here and talk football the whole time.
I like football, man. I like talking football.
Let's start previewing next year's college football season.
Yeah. Let's do a 2023 NFL mock draft. CJ Stroud, number 1 overall. to the Steelers.
Number 1 overall is going to be someone that we don't even know yet. Guarantee it. Write it down right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now, we do not know the name of the guy that is going number 1 overall.
This time
I don't even know who the guy.
Unless it's Jackson Smith and the Shigba, if he goes absolutely insane this season.
Oh,
and the team that goes number 1 needs a wide receiver.
This time last year, we were all saying Kayvon Thibodeau, and he didn't go number 1. So
yeah, I don't even know who.
This news that came out of
dude that went
Browns and Jarvis Landry are in advanced talks to re-sign Jarvis back to the dog pound.
Really?
Yeah,
because
I
no
saw
Baker
that this
now.
morning.
Because of no Baker.
Yep.
Man, that's an all-time slap in the face to somebody.
Oh, it is.
He doesn't want to be there. Then they get rid of the guy. He's like, "Oh, I'll come back." No, you got my guy. That's a big slap in the face. Because they were saying he was trying to get out and they cut him and he wanted to go to Houston New Orleans or wherever they thought that Watson was going to go. He goes to Cleveland, then he wants to come back. But I don't know. If I were him, I'd maybe want to go to a place like Green Bay.
Yeah,
either him or Odell. It would be harder to get Odell because he just had an injury and he's probably wants money after the way he was playing with the Rams. But I'd look at a place like that because the Packers are still a playoff team, but they're not a contender. Though. What's that?
Yeah,
I can't imagine Odell's going to get that big of a contract. He had 6 good games.
That's true.
And he's injury prone.
That's the other thing too. I don't know how many teams are going to look at him and say, "Hey, let's give him this."
I mean, at the moment, clearly not many, considering there hasn't been any talks of Odell signing anywhere but Cleveland.
Yeah. And
I bet Odell's becoming an Antonio Brown case, honestly.
Yup.
I bet you he'll start doing stupid stuff too, like running on the field and stuff.
Yeah, so out of Cleveland, this just came in from Cleveland as well. Browns have released kickers Chase McLaughlin and Chris Blewett, so they're going full steam ahead on the new rookie they drafted, I think in the 4th round, Cade York.
There you go. So, they're trying to upgrade.
No, they're copying Cincinnati is what they're doing. They just one-upped them and took the highest kicker ever. It was they took a kicker in the 4th round. He's the highest kicker since Robert Aguayo, who was let me see here. He was taken in 2016 and is I believe the kicker right now for the Patriots.
Don't even know him.
Let's talk about this. How about
it wasn't even the highest rated kicker in the draft, by the way. That was Matt Araiza out of San Diego State, and he was the punter. So,
let's talk about the draft a little bit more. First of all, how about Andrew Ogletree with YSU getting drafted by the Colts?
Yeah,
good for him. I like that. I like that. I mean, I remember I've talked to him a couple of times, like during practice and stuff. The dude's a beast. Like he's probably been one of the only few like top-notch players on YSU, honestly. At least in the tight end area.
For how bad we are.
No, yeah, it's not that.
But no, good for him for getting drafted.
And I think that this year's Mystery Irrelevant, which is I forget his name. Oh, Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy got Mystery Irrelevant.
Yes, he was. That was a great pick.
How about
the biggest fall in the history of an NFL player or an NFL recruit?
He was projected like top 10.
He was top 10 last season and fell to Mr. Irrelevant, which is insane. He was the top-rated quarterback going into this class at the beginning of the year. Especially like last 2 years, he's been posed as the guy to make some noise in this class, and he goes last place.
I hope he's another Tom Brady case. Who picked him?
Ooh, it was, I don't remember who had the last pick. 49ers.
Oh man. He's going to beat out Trey Lance.
Right.
He'll beat out Trey Lance.
This is big news in college football as well. Here, hold on. This came in on Scott Frost and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They've been penalized by the NCAA for having a special teams analyst coach players, and Scott Frost didn't handle it properly. So the infractions will be a 1-year extension to the current probationary period, a $10,000 fine, a 1-year show cause order for the football head coach, plus a 5-day suspension from all coaching duties during the championship segment of the 2022 football season, a reduction of the number of football countable coaches by 1 for 2 days of practice during the spring 2022 season. All non-coaching staff members will be removed from practice and competition for 5 consecutive days during the championship segment of the 2022 season. Basically, if that means if Nebraska has any shot of getting to the Big Ten championship or a postseason bowl, they won't have any ability to practice in that final week. Basically,
they don't have a chance anyways.
Right.
No,
I kind of wish they did. I mean, it's good. I like the Big Ten when Nebraska's good. It's been a long time, but
I didn't like them when they had Bo Pelini.
Yeah.
I hated them when they had Bo Pelini.
Did you guys hear the big news in the NBA for the Utah Jazz this morning?
Yes, I did.
What happened?
Rudy Gobert has informed the Utah Jazz that he wants either himself or Donovan Mitchell to be traded from the team here in the next 5 days.
It's not too surprising. It seems like there's been something going on between both of them. Ever since the COVID stuff really happened when they jumped on Gobert, it just seems like they just haven't been the same since. And I think it's time for them. I talked about in that Dallas series, it's just time for them to just move on from somebody on this team because every year they have great regular seasons and they just don't do anything in the playoffs. There's really no reason for it. They couldn't beat a Dallas team where they didn't have Luka half the series. So I think it's time for them to split up or somebody on this team to move on.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think it was a little, chaotic to see right after the series. It's like, oh, trade us right now because you can't really do anything, but they can at least put one in place for it. But I still was like, man, that was some shocking news this morning out of it.
Well, here's my question.
If it came down to, I guess here's the bigger question. Who would you rather have?
Well,
here's that's player of the year or Donovan Mitchell, who hasn't made any noise in years.
That's what I was going to ask is if you're Utah, do you even want to trade one of them? Like, are you even going to listen to this request? Or, like you said, if Utah's put in a place where they have to choose between one or the other, which route do you go? I really don't. I mean,
to me, it's a hard one. I mean, you're either going with Donovan Mitchell, who averaged 25.9 points per game, shooting 45% from the field, 35 from three, grabbed down 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, a half block this season, which was among one of his best seasons so far in his career, by the way, which is now in its 5th season as well. He was a first round pick in the 13th spot for this team out of Louisville. He's still only 25, or are you going to go with Rudy Gobert, who obviously, I mean, his resume is speaking for itself, but yet every time you see him perform in the playoffs, he kind of flops. I mean, he was a 27th round pick in the same draft class, coming off a year in which he only had 15 points, but 15 rebounds. And by the way, he shot 71% from the field, which was a career high for him. But, I guess that's part of me. It wasn't the same draft. He was picked back in 2013. So he's a lot farther along into this. He's going into what will be his 10th season. I think you gotta stick with the young guns here with Donovan.
Well, I agree with you there. I think, with Gobert, seems like he wins Defensive Player of the Year almost every year. So, but like you said, it seems like when he gets playoff time, he really doesn't do much in the playoffs. And I know there's a lot of big guys that are coming back into the league that are, like Embiid and Jokic and all them guys. But I still think you have to have a good guard, and I think that's what Donovan Mitchell is. And you got to have a guy that can score, and he can score. He averages over 20, and he still does it in the playoffs more than Gobert produced in the playoffs. So I'd probably stick with you and go the younger route as well, because younger superstars in any league, that's what you got to go for. And it just didn't seem like Gobert doesn't match up well with guys in the playoffs, so I'd probably go Mitchell if I had to pick, if I was Utah.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
I don't really have any insight on this. I'm just like, okay. I mean, we're used to NBA players fighting each other. Like, everybody's getting in trouble. I mean, everybody's disagreeing with everybody. We've already went through the Lakers thing. Now Utah's doing it. So, like, I mean, it's old news. They don't get along. NBA teammates, most of them, either they're best of buddies like Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, or even DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. Either they're best friends or they hate each other. There's no in between. there's no in between. Like there's no like you don't have to go hang out with them or anything, but like some of them do. But get along and win championships. You want to be babies and complain and cry about each other? Yeah, trade them away. I'd trade both of them away.
I mean, nothing you said is really wrong.
No,
that's the trend of the NBA.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, I think the thing is too, Matt. To kind of speak to what you're saying is a lot of guys don't really want to take responsibility.
No,
I mean, you like you just brought up the Lakers mess. It seems like nobody from the front office to the players, coaching staff, nobody wants to take responsibility for how they played, how the team was put together. Nobody wants to take responsibility for that. And I think it's going to be the same thing here in Utah. Is these guys aren't producing in the playoffs, and they don't really want to take responsibility for it. They'll be like, "Oh, I've done my part," and we really haven't, and it really hasn't resulted in anything. So that's my thing. Nobody wants to take responsibility, and they just want to get to wherever they want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking right now kind of more into this situation, potential trades, and I'm seeing a few like fans put out some stuff, and I don't think this one's completely unreasonable. But how about Rudy Gobert to the Golden State Warriors in a trade for Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and 2 first-rounders?
No.
Sure, Utah. I know
that.
Right
I know
now.
that's a heavy case, but I mean that wouldn't be completely.
Trade them to the Blazers.
You're just looking at a team in Golden State that really doesn't need picks. They have a solid group of guys that probably aren't going anywhere in the next 5 years. Can you imagine putting the defensive player in the year next to Draymond Green? You can let that dude go and do whatever he wants at this point. And they need a center. This is a team that has been trying to find one, and James Wiseman is always injured.
I think Gobert is a guy that it seems like they'd want. And if you're Utah, do that in a heartbeat. I mean, you're getting a guy like Wiggins that people forget just started in the All-Star game. So you're getting a guy like him and a young center and Wiseman and 2 picks. How do you not do that?
I would do it for 1 pick, honestly, if I was them.
Whatever, yeah. But I'm talking about the 2 players you're getting, then any pick that they would get sent. I would do that in a heartbeat, just on the players alone.
Right. That's where I am. Especially when you got a guy that doesn't want to be there, culture problem, go send him somewhere else. I mean, the only thing maybe is they don't want to keep him in the Western Conference so that they have to face him less. But you don't see that as much in the NBA as you do in baseball or football or hockey. They're fine sending him in the same conference.
Send him to the Pelicans and get Zion.
Zion and Donovan Mitchell. No one's blocking their shot. They're dunking on you all day long.
That'd be sick, though.
The guy you say is a bust?
Well, maybe. He's a bust right now. I don't want him to be a bust, but
that's a lie.
Yeah, I think that's a lie.
No, it's not.
That's a lie on air right now.
All right, let's talk some baseball.
Okay, go ahead, man. This is your show. I've just been filling in until you figured out what you wanted to talk about.
All right.
I don't control Mondays.
All right, so
maybe
we got Kansas City. No, we got Kansas City Royals taking on the Cardinals right now. Angels and White Sox are playing right now too. But I mean, I know we talked about it in the group chat a little bit. But how about the whole Trevor Bauer situation? Like 2 years 2-year ban. Like we won't go in depth on what the suspension about. Like everybody who's watching knows why he's suspended. But
I have a question.
Let's get 1 second. Like when he comes back in 2 years, is he still gonna have it? Because everybody's gonna be. I mean, practices like working out and stuff is one thing, but in games like that, you're not gonna be able to train for that. You ain't going to be able to keep up with that.
Out of this is in 2 years when Trevor Bauer is out of complete relevance and doesn't get a spot back in Major League Baseball, he's going to come back and sue for a lot of money for loss of wages and defamation because because the courts of Los Angeles cleared him of the charges, but Major League Baseball is still putting a punishment down. Now we don't know, specifics of what those cases were, and they're saying he still violated the MLB terms of sexual assault, I believe, is what they put him on for the 2-year suspension. But I think Trevor Bauer is going to come back with the appeal. If he gets it, I think he might have a good shot at the appeal. 1, 2, if he doesn't get the appeal, I think he has a good chance of making some money off of it anyways. 3, the part about it is good. good on Major League Baseball for suspending him. If you have a guy bring this kind of negative press to a sport that is already falling down and falling apart and is losing the fan base, I wouldn't want somebody like that associated with my brand either. And I think that goes for any company. If you have any company and one of your big faces of the brand, your up and coming guy is the face of a, trying to be the face of a franchise out in a big major market. If you have this guy all of a sudden coming to this major scandal, how many companies are going to sit around and wait for something else to happen and not take action immediately? You go into any other position of work and you have accusations like this come out about you, you have a 90% chance of getting fined, suspended, some kind of punishment taken, if not straight up fired. So this is a welcome to the real world, athletes. You're not special. You don't get special treatment just because your name is on the back of a jersey and you get a couple $1 million in your bank account. You still have to be a respectable, decent human being. And if you don't want to be, well, then, you get fined for it. You get penalized. Something has to happen to these players to kind of reality shock them because they think they're special. You ain't special. You play baseball. Don't disrespect the sport.
My question is this suspension, does it count this year, or is it this year or next year, or is it next year and the year after that?
This year and next.
Okay. Because, this season's still young, so it probably still counts full season. But, no, I agree with you too, Alec, and I think the big thing here for me is that, he's playing for the Dodgers. Hold on, man.
Yeah.
He's playing for the Dodgers, right? And what is the problem that we always say in baseball is that they cater, Major League Baseball caters to the big markets like the Yankees, the Dodgers, Red Sox, and all these teams. I think the big thing here is when the Astros had that scandal, they pretty much did not get penalized at all. They lost their manager, but that was basically it. So I think the thing here, and I like you're saying, Alec, is that they said, hey, we're actually going to start penalizing these guys. Like this, Trevor Bauer actually, this is a big thing that he did. So for them actually saying, hey, you're suspended for 2 years, you're not going to get special treatment because you're one of the better pitchers and you're pitching for the Dodgers, we're going to suspend you anyways. And I think that's good for Major League Baseball, like you said too, because it's saying, hey, we're not messing around anymore. We got to start penalizing people. And I think when this suspension's up and it's 2 years afterwards, who's to say he's going to have a spot? Because the pitchers are coming up and up from the minor leagues all the time. So who's going to say there's even a spot left for him at his age too?
He's 33 years old.
Yeah.
No one's going to care. Like, no one's ever going to forget. No one's going to remember him again. Everybody's going to forget about him. Like, nobody will care anymore.
And he's with the Dodgers, and they always have young pitchers coming up.
Yeah, it's the Dodgers. So, he can go play for the Orioles.
Farm system, he's not going to be anywhere.
He'll go play for the Orioles.
Maybe go play overseas somewhere in Japan or something. Some people are starting to actually do that. So,
yeah,
maybe if he doesn't have a spot, go try to do that.
Yasiel Puig's doing that right now.
Yeah, a couple of guys are. So, that's probably what he's going to have to do. It's still professional baseball.
Yeah, it's just not made MLB. So, that's what I would do. This is a totally different sport, but Kyle Larson, like when he was suspended, he still raced. He just didn't do NASCAR. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So at least still go play baseball. I'm not going to sit around and fight in the courts. Like, I'd still go play. If somebody picks you up, like who says that they're going to pick him up? Do you really want a guy on your team that's been doing what he's been doing? But Alec, what you were saying earlier, like the courts dismissed him, but MLB didn't. Like it's like saying, oh, the doctors pass you, but if your mom doesn't, like the mom is the MLB and the doctors are, the court.
Right.
It's the same thing that happened with the whole 8-man out thing with the Black Sox back in 1919. They got clear charges in court, but the Major League came in and said, no, you're not playing anymore. So,
and that's good.
Yeah.
To show some type of discipline. Where, like Alex said, you at some point you got to be like, in all these sports too, you got to be like at some point, you actually have to get penalized for doing stuff like this. And even stuff like with the Astros, they didn't get penalized, but even cheating and stuff like that, you have to start getting penalized for stuff you do wrong.
They didn't even get vacated.
You are human beings at the end of the day.
They didn't even get, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like they should have had it vacated. Honestly.
Again, you guys know my thing on that. Even though they did cheat, we still have memory of them winning it, so you can't really vacate it. It happened. Even though they cheated, it still happened.
Yeah.
You can't physically take World Series trophy away, and we have memory of them winning it and hosting it up. That's my thing. They cheated. They shouldn't have won it.
They
But
cheated.
They did it at the end of the day. They won it the wrong way.
Yeah. But all right, let's move out of this talk. Let's move into some, divisional talk here. Let's go American League East first. You got Yankees in first. Blue Jays are right there, and actually, Blue Jays are coming to Cleveland this weekend, so that should be something. I'm gonna try and get tickets. But Blue Jays are 15-8. The Yankees are 16-6. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They won 9 in a row. Yankees are coming back. Yankees are starting to be the Yankees again.
Best record in baseball right now.
Yeah. And Cleveland, you're moving in the Central. Cleveland's actually not doing too bad. I mean, they lost seven in a row, but then coming back and sweeping the A's. They're in second place. Chicago, like, what's going on with Chicago? Like, no one would think that the Twins would be in first.
I still am not jumping off the White Sox bandwagon.
They're 8-13. They are 2-8 in their last 10 games. So I don't know. I mean, it's still early. So, but hopefully we'll see something down here. I mean, Detroit and the Royals are down where they're supposed to be, but I mean, really, Chicago in third, like, that's kind of a disappointment right now. Last year,
but they're only a game and a half behind Cleveland, so it's not like they're way out of it. And it's still early. I mean, it's 8-13. Sweep a series like Cleveland just did. You're right back in it.
Yeah. Now, let's move into the West. It's about time, right? The Los Angeles Angels are 15-8. Come on, keep it.
And I love it. Look who's behind them too. The Mariners.
I love this Mariners team. What's his name? Oh man, they're calling the J-Rod show. Like, that's his nickname.
Let me look at the roster.
Oh man, he's a heck of a young ball player, I tell you that.
Julio Rodriguez, center fielder.
Oh man, he's sick. He is awesome to watch. I've watched a couple games on TV that are just like, wow, where did this kid come from?
And people forget, and I kind of put this out of my mind when I was making our standings like before the season started.
Yeah.
They had a good year last year, but I didn't like how they lost Kyle Seager to retirement. But, Matt, they replaced him with Adam Frazier, who we know the Pirates traded to San Diego last year. He didn't really do anything with San Diego, but he's not a power hitter, but he's a contact hitter. He gets on base all the time. He's a good second baseman.
That's all
you
got to do, get on base.
Get on base, and they have guys like that. They picked up Jesse Winker from the Reds. I mean, they don't have big names, but
they have a team.
They didn't really have any last year either. No, and they missed the playoffs by like a couple games last year. They were almost there, remember?
Yeah, I do remember. But
about time with the Angels. It's about time.
It's about time with the Angels. It's about time.
But can they keep this up the rest of the season?
Can they keep it up? I hope.
I mean, I feel like we've seen the Angels kind of go big for stretches before, and then once, the schedule always balances itself out. I mean, you saw it with Cleveland at the very start. They went on a great streak, and now you look at where they are now. They're looking. I mean, now they're finally back up to second, but it's the way these schedules kind of roller coaster. You're going to see teams go on these big rises, some big falls, like you saw with Cleveland, like you're going to see with major teams. I mean, Yankees are already back up into first place now.
That's what we were just saying.
They're way down. You look at Boston; they're 9-14. I expect when we look at this in a month, they're going to be sitting second.
What about Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago is maybe the biggest example. I mean, they were riding high all beginning of the season. They're 2-8 in the last 10. It's all about the schedule. The schedule is the most important part of baseball, and I think the most overlooked part of baseball too. Because if you just look flat at a record right now, you would go and say that it was one of the worst teams in baseball is the Atlanta Braves.
We're about to talk about them next.
Or the Colorado Rockies. You look at them. Oh, they're fourth place in the NL West. They must suck. No, they're 13-9 right now. How about the Diamondbacks sitting at 10-13 in last place of the NL West? I mean, you look at other teams. That's the same record as Atlanta. That's about the same as Oakland. That's better than Chicago. They'd sit in second place right now of the AL Central. So you have to keep an eye on this. Don't overreact like I think some people might, especially kind of what we're saying right now with Los Angeles at 15-8. The schedule will balance itself out. They will come back down to reality. They're losing right now to the White Sox 2-0. You look at schedules; they shouldn't be doing that. White Sox should be, getting blown out by them based on current records. They're nearly the opposite. This schedule will even itself out. You're going to see Chicago come back up. You're going to see LA get a reality check a little bit here. I mean, look at some of our early season standings last year and compare them to where they were in the later part of the season. I mean, How about I go ahead and do that? I'm going to go back to May 2nd of last year. While you guys talk here, it'll take me a minute.
Well, I think what you're saying with the Angels is right but this is actually probably one of their best chances to actually do something this year because I know that the Astros are still good. They still have a good lineup, but they've lost somebody, one of their best players each of the last 2 years. They lost George Springer last year. This year they lose Correa, so they're losing guys. So this is one of the better chances to actually jump on this opportunity and stay where they're at. So we'll see if they can actually do that. And I think the same with the Mariners too as well. But I mean, because the bottom of this division is kind of weak. The A's traded everybody away. Matt, Texas should be good, but they're not. And
well, here, okay, so I just pulled them both up. So at May 2nd last year, the number one team in the AL West was the Oakland Athletics at 17-12. They finished third in the division. The eventual World Series champions were fourth place in the AL East at 12-16 with a score differential of -16, and were 4-7 against teams over 500.
Alec, I got a good one for you. Series. Remember 2019? The Nationals were 19-31. They went on to win the World Series.
Yeah,
19-31.
That's what I'm saying. The schedule. Don't overreact right now because it's going to flip. Or you look at a team, maybe a prime example of, man, that schedule really changed up. Baltimore, at May 2nd last year, they were in a place where they were only 3.5 games back from Boston for first, riding at a win percentage of .464, just under 500, very minimal differential of just -11. They were doing just fine. They had an even record against teams over 500. They then finished the season 52-110, 40 games back from first, a differential of -297 in against 500 teams. They were 30-78. Things are going to change quickly here. Happens every season.
Sure
it's
does.
a long season. You're playing every day. That's why I keep saying, like, Matt, I know you were asking me last week about the Mets. Right now, they're National League. They're the best team in the National League. They're second best in baseball. I think they can do it with the team that they have, but it's the Mets, so we'll see. And like you said, that's still kind of a tough division. I mean, you still have the Phillies who aren't doing what we thought they would, but they're still formidable. How about the Marlins, 12-9, second place? So we'll see with this one. You expect the Braves at some point to come back, like Alec brought up. I mean, you just got healthy. You're defending champs.
May 2nd last year, by the way, Mets were also first place in the NL East at that time at 12-11.
Yeah. So
they've been here before, and they've blown it before, so just, keep
I know that
mindset on this one.
I know. That's why I keep that in the back of my head with talking. But Matt, with your Braves, at some point they're going to
finish 77-85.
Yeah.
That was last year, yeah. They collapsed down after that All-Star break. They collapsed.
Yeah,
they finished well below 500.
They puked it up, but no, with Matt, I know you're going to talk about the Braves. I mean, 10-13, the defending champs normally do kind of start out slow, and they're just getting healthy, and they just lost their franchise player.
Yeah, they're working a new guy into that spot. It's going to take a minute.
It's going to take a minute.
And they need some bottom feeders on that schedule. They haven't gotten a ton of them yet. They need some of those teams to go cold when they're going up against them, and that winning's going to come around. I mean, they're 4-6 against teams that are over 500. That's perfect for me. Keep that up. Keep that record going. And you look right now, expected wins and losses based on runs scored and runs allowed. Exactly what they're supposed to be. They were with their current record. And stats, they're projected to be 10-13. That's exactly what they are. They're following stats right now, and they're going to have to get runs in. I mean, that's a big part of this, and that's going to come with getting guys healthy, getting guys back into a flow. And with it being so early, guys are finding their spot in the rotation.
And I'm looking at their schedule. They don't really have too many bottom coming up. They play the Mets 4-game series starting tonight. Then the Brewers after that. Red Sox. They're not starting out great, but like you just said, they're still a good team. They're going to even themselves out. Padres after that. Brewers again. Marlins after that, who, like I just said, they're still, hanging up there. Then the Phillies and the Marlins again, and then the Diamondbacks. So I guess you could say the Diamondbacks are bottom feeder, but I don't know. That's not that easy of a schedule at all, Matt, for this whole month.
No, it's not. But
we'll see. You guys got to play the games.
We'll see. But all right, 40 minutes in. Let's say, what do you want to do? NBA or NHL?
How about NHL? They got playoffs starting tonight.
Yeah, let's get it.
We'll go NHL. All right, let's get it. Pens play tomorrow, so
Matt, you got to talk about Boston in the first game.
That means we can't
They
talk
got
about
the
Pittsburgh.
Hurricanes.
We got to talk about somebody
Can I
else.
just go get the bar of soap in my bathroom and put it in my mouth after I talk about them? 4-game sweep by the Hurricanes. Calling it.
You're saying
I'm going Hurricanes.
Matt. So you're saying they're going to get rocked by a hurricane?
Shut up.
Rock you like a hurricane.
All right, nobody wants to hear this. I don't think anybody wants to hear
Everybody
this.
wants to hear us sing on this show. That's what they're here for. This is the casual singing podcast.
Yeah.
We don't do sports here. We sing for the masses.
We sing.
You say nobody wants that? We just got 2 more likes than we had.
I'll take my headphones off. You want me to?
Okay.
Matt, you're calling a sweep here?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, why don't we actually talk some sports, though? Boston, Carolina, this should be a great series. I mean, I do like both of these teams. I mean, they're really not that far off in terms of points from each other. Differential, though, for me, has Hurricanes taking this one big, coming into the playoffs on a 6-game win streak, winning 8 of your last 10. Bruins lost their final game of the season. That can be a bit of a dud sometimes to go into the playoffs. They took 5 losses in overtime this season. Hurricanes took 8 overtime losses. Really, these two teams, when you put them on paper, I know the differential is doubled for the Hurricanes, but I think they're pretty equal. I mean, when you get down to this point of the season, I mean, I think you do have to give the momentum, the edge, to the team that came in with momentum, and that's the Hurricanes, man. I don't think this is going to be a sweep, but I think you're going to see Carolina take control of this series. First 2 games of the series are at home. They take them both at home. They steal 1 on the road in Boston. Boston gets 1 back. Boston might steal game 5. I think this goes 6 in favor of Carolina 4-2 the series.
Yep, you took my prediction. I'm going Carolina in 6.
Oh, me too.
I think it's
I
an
go
entertaining
Carolina.
series.
I go Carolina in 5.
I think that's fair.
That's likely. I've seen some people pick that series in 5, but I'm going 6. I think it's going to be an entertaining one.
Sebastian Aho's a freak, man. It was sick to my stomach to watch them play against the Penguins. I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't even compete. Like we're so screwed.
And this doesn't always mean anything unless you're Pittsburgh playing a New York team, which they are.
Yeah.
But the Hurricanes outscored Bruins 16-1. I don't know if you said that, Alec, when you were talking about the series, but 16-1, and they swept the season series in the 3-game series. So that doesn't always mean anything, but that gives them some type of confidence going in that we can play against these guys. Like I said, unless you're Pittsburgh playing a New York team that never beat them. But that's something to look at too when you're looking at this series.
Yeah, it is. But let's go to the next matchup here. We got
I got Carolina winning game 1 tonight too, by the way.
Oh yeah, me too. Let's go Lightning Maple Leafs. This one is gonna be a hard nose.
7 games right now. I'm calling it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna go 7.
This is one of the best teams Toronto's had in a while.
Oh yeah. So
didn't Toronto win something a couple years ago though?
They've been playoff teams, but I think they're really good this year, Matt.
I like Austin Matthews. He's a heck of a player. So his time has been coming too. Like he needs a win. So I don't know. This is tough.
I mean, coming into this season, Tampa Bay Lightning were the favorite to win it all, were they not?
Yeah, but
back-to-back Stanley Cups.
There's no way they'd win 3 in a row. No way.
You know what? Because you guys are saying 7, who'd you guys give it to in 7, though?
I'm going Lightning in 7.
Matt?
I say Lightning edges them, but first round.
I'm taking Lightning in 5. I know that seems a bit bold here, especially with 2 teams that close, and this is definitely going against my differential here. But you look in the playoffs, championship teams, especially back-to-back, I know they're going up against a good squad, and you might see some, fireworks in this one. You give that playoff experience, deep playoff experience, to a team like the Lightning. Sometimes you have to throw records and resumes out the window and just look at these teams' face value. What has this team done the last couple seasons? What have they got now from those seasons? And the Lightning are coming in here. I got them 5 games, and a little bit of a shock even for me. I'm going to take this one, go against my differential, but 10 games, not 10 games, 5 games to Lightning.
We talk about all the time with experience, Matt, especially talking about our Penguins. Stamkos and Vasilevsky are some of the better players in the league, and they've just been there for 2 of these cups that they won.
Oh,
and
man.
They have experience. Stamkos
belongs on the Lightning because the dude is like Lightning.
Yeah.
He's a sick player to watch, too. I can't stand him, but he's good.
I keep saying, I think
this beats us.
Well, yeah.
You see Stamkos, and then you see an old man Letang trying to keep up with him, and it is sad. It is sad.
Well, that kind of has to go with what I'm going to say about our series. I'll wait till tomorrow, but and this kind of goes to what I was saying about the Bucks and Celtics series in basketball. And I think it showed yesterday in Game 1. They dominated the Celtics.
Yeah.
I'm going with the defending champs until it doesn't happen. And I've been saying that all year with the Lightning. I'm not saying they're going to repeat, Matt, but you got to at least have them in the conversation.
They're not going out first round. I mean, hey, they did go out first round to Columbus. And then they won back-to-back. So.
Yeah. I know Alec
that was year before they won back-to-back. Remember that, Alec? That was, man, I remember that. That was fun. You were all hyped up. Columbus! Yeah, now it's, what the heck happened to them?
It wasn't a bad season, man. We finished, just under 500. I'll take it.
Every year or so they get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're
not a championship team. They're not a perennial team. Hey, let's have some fun this year.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I'm a fun guy.
Let's move next series. Blues versus Wild. This series is going to be sweet to watch. Blues and the Wild. I don't even know who to pick. This series will probably go 7. Honestly.
I'm going with my differential here. This is decent enough gap between them. Wild got here based on some defense, but the Blues had better defense and they had better offense all year. Blues are taking this in the 5, and I'll say 5.
I'm gonna go. I think that's another good series. I'll go Blues with 5. I'll go with you on that one. And I think I keep talking about teams playing well, going to the playoffs. St. Louis, they're playing some of the best in the league.
I like Minnesota. I like the way they play. And I obviously I can't even think of his name, but I like Minnesota. But yeah, Blues. I think the Blues have the edge with the offense. So I gotta go Blues.
Maybe one thing I'm concerned about, though, 11 overtime losses this season. Blues can't close it in extra time.
Neither can Pittsburgh. Yeah. So.
Well, this ain't about Pittsburgh.
Everything is about Pittsburgh.
Matt, there's other teams in hockey besides Pittsburgh.
I know. No team that matters.
Not even the Steel City anymore, so.
Hey. We got steel bridges, so
every city has steel bridges. Don't give me that.
Not like hundreds of them.
Pittsburgh hasn't been the leader.
Not like Pittsburgh, though. We got decades. Not like Pittsburgh.
Do you know? Can anybody here tell me what Pittsburgh's biggest market is now?
Ketchup. I don't
know. I like that answer. I really like that answer.
Heinz the Big Mac.
Heinz ketchup. I don't know.
I really like that answer, and I don't. Let's go with that one because it's a lot funnier.
Heinz the Big Mac, Matt.
No, it's technology. Pittsburgh is was rated like the most up and coming technological city in America.
What do you think they use to build those bridges? Nothing.
Ketchup.
Right. Yeah, they were catching up it. All right. This show's done. All right, we're done.
Keep going. We still got another series, Matt. LA and Edmonton tonight.
All right. I say, honestly, this is a bold statement right here.
Oilers
Edmonton's taking a sweep.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right here now. Edmonton will sweep them.
The Kings have no offense. I mean, look at their goal scored this season. You compare that to other teams. They should be sitting down there with teams like the Anaheim Ducks. They haven't scored well this season.
I'm so sad the Ducks didn't get in.
Oh, I know. But, I mean, this is a team that has barely scored more than most of the teams that didn't make it into the playoffs. I mean, Blue Jackets had over 20 more goals scored than this squad. So I got nothing impressive to say about LA. I mean, you had a differential this season of 3. You got in by the hair of your chinny chin and ain't getting you nowhere other than a 4-game sweep to the Oilers of Edmonton, who, by the way, this season I feel like have been sneakily one of the best teams in hockey.
Oh, I don't even know why it's sneaky. They have been one of the best teams. They have the best player, I think, in the game, Matt, in McDavid.
I just feel like when you hear
sick.
hockey this season, at least especially for me, I've always heard Avalanche, the Wild, the Flames from that, Pittsburgh, but in reality, the Hurricanes and the Panthers. And I feel like maybe the record's a little not as impressive. I mean, it's not a 50-win campaign for the Oilers, but if you look at them, I mean, they're putting together. Every time you go to count this team out, they go, ha, 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 joke's on you. I'm kicking this team's rear end for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I got Edmonton in 5.
I can get on the hottest streak in hockey.
That's fair.
I think that's gonna be the turning point.
I'll give LA a game. I'll give a gentleman's sweep.
Okay. This is
no gentlemen in hockey. Just a bunch of brawlers.
Okay. Yeah, sure. All right, let's go NBA final 9 minutes of the show. Man, this is going to be one heck of a series. Both of these are going to be one heck of a series. They're starting tonight. Sixers versus Heat.
No, it's not. Not without Embiid.
Unfortunately, Heat's going to smoke this first round.
James Harden can't do it himself.
Yeah, I mean, Harden can hardly do it with a team, let alone by himself. I'm with
you guys are saying Heat in the sweep?
Big. I'm not saying sweep just yet. I mean, and that's going to rely on what happens with Joel Embiid if he can come back. I mean, he got his face busted. He's going to cut. Last time he got this injury, he was done for 3 weeks. So unless James Harden goes God mode on us, this is going to be a quick series.
Oh, yeah.
Most likely a
I think so, too.
With games going to Philly and Philadelphia, I think is a very common appearance here. But I think the Heat are going to dominate this series. And it's unfortunate because this was a series that should have been a treat between these two teams. It should have been one of the best we saw. And unfortunately, we're going to miss out on it because of no Joel Embiid.
And I think with the Sixers, I mean, at least, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make, but at least you're going to have Matisse Thybulle on the road where you didn't have him on the road in that Toronto series. But you're missing your star power. You're missing your MVP candidate. It's going to be hard to replace that. And I mean, it's going to have to be a team effort, obviously. But like you said, Alec, James Harden can't do it himself, and he's shown how many times in the past he can't do it with a star-studded team. So
yeah, and
I'm not depending on that.
Philly has said he will be reevaluated on Wednesday for potential games 3 and 4 when they come back to Philly, but he will not play on the first 2 games.
And I gotta believe if it's Joel Embiid,
he has an orbital fracture and a concussion.
But if I gotta believe with him, the type of player he is, just the type of player he is, I think if he has a chance to play, he's going to try to do it.
Yeah, and we know how guys with masks do in the playoffs. So
he wore one a couple years ago in that Miami series.
Yeah. Oh boy. We'll see. All right, how about the next series? Dallas versus Suns, man. Woo!
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. And I think Dallas is coming in as the better team. They just took down a much better team in Utah than the Suns had to do it. Did it in the same amount of games. They did it maybe a little bit more impressively, too. And not to mention, hold on, here comes Jalen Brunson out of nowhere. 28 points
Villanova
per game in that series.
Yep.
Just
Brunson,
came out
baby.
of it. I mean, he's out of the team, guys, on this Maverick squad. Jalen Brunson ain't the one that's supposed to be doing this, and yet here he is. And I think right now Dallas is taking game 1. I'll say it right now. On the road in Phoenix, Chris Paul better have his A game on and bring his big boy underwear because it's going to be a one tonight. This is going to be a series to remember. And right now, I'm hoping for another magical run by Dallas, man. Last time they made the run, 2012 or 13, whatever it was, with
2011.
11, whatever it is. I can never remember dates. Too many of them. 2011 with Dirk Nowitzki. Are you feeling that momentum again? I mean, Doncic is going. Finney Smith is going. Dinwiddie is freaking going for this team.
And look who the coach is. Jason Kidd, Mr. Dallas himself. Well, one of them. I mean, he was drafted by Dallas. But, I mean, he played for the Suns, too. So I think that's funny. But
yeah, I mean.
It's still a shame that, that dynamic duo of Steve Nash and Jason Kidd with the Suns didn't do anything. That is just sad.
Who knows what would have worked, but
it's
it's the first playoff series win since that run, Matt. And they've been in the playoffs quite a few times since then. They haven't done anything. So we'll see how they come off that. I know it's a whole different team with whole different players, but no, they're pretty confident coming in. And Alec, they held it down in that previous series, not having Doncic for half that series. So getting them back, I feel like these guys are coming back to their natural roles. They know how to play around him.
Right.
I think the biggest thing the last couple of years is not having enough scoring around Luka, but maybe they've adjusted that with Brunson finding his game a little
You're
bit
going to
more.
go up against a lot of scorers with the Suns, and that's going to be their biggest problem. I mean, you put Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, Ayton, Paul, Booker, Johnson, Payne. I mean, all those guys can do it. And then you got 2 lockdown centers as well, and Biyombo and JaVale McGee. I mean, it really is a super team for Phoenix, and it's one they built slowly over a lot of years, and it has come together beautifully for this team. But, you know, at the end of the day, super teams don't always work. We see that a lot. A lot of super team screw-ups in the playoffs.
I think with Dallas,
We
they're going
didn't
to get
see
one on
that
the road.
last year, but I think you might see it this time.
Yeah, and I think with Dallas, if you're going to get one on the road, I think it's going to be tonight. So I'll give them tonight.
Do it like Minnesota. Take game 1.
I still think Phoenix is going to win this series. They're my pick to win the series. I don't know how many games yet, but I think if Dallas is going to win a game on the series, I think it'll be tonight. So I'll go for them. I'll go with them for that.
Yeah,
I think after we leave Phoenix, they're going to come back, and this is a series that it's either going to be tied or it's going to be 3-1 in the favor of Dallas. How about that? Throw my wild card in there.
One thing though that concerns me with Dallas is they don't really, even going back to last year, they don't particularly play well at home in the playoffs. That kind of worries me.
New season.
that's true. It's true. Yeah, it should be. I was just getting ready for my beast of the week, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't really disagree with anything you guys said. So it should be pretty good. So
All right.
All right,
to
who's your
kick back
beast?
and grab popcorn. All right, beast of the week. All right, I'm going New York Jets and New York Giants in the draft. I think they killed this draft. I mean, I like Brian Daboll coming in, making some moves. I like the Evan Neal pick. I even like the Cordell Flott pick. So I like, it's more the Jets, but I mean, I just wanted to throw both New York teams in there. It's more the Jets. I mean, I like Kayvon Thibodeau too with the Giants too, but
Tibbs
the
was a
Jets,
steal.
man, huh?
Tibbs was a steal going where he was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh very much so. But I mean, the Jets, man. They draft Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson. Now that's your boy. And they picked up Jeremy Ruckert too, who's a heck of a tight end from Ohio
Hell
State.
yeah.
And Brees Hall.
Brees Hall.
Yeah.
Brees Hall is awesome. I love Brees Hall.
They
Jermaine
just
Johnson
grabbed
as well.
like the all-star lineup, like the all-star rejects
Yeah.
lineup from college football
Yeah.
outside of Garrett Wilson. I mean, Brees Hall, top guy, kind of fell off a little bit, stat-wise. And Garrett Wilson, who was playing second fiddle to, Njigba and Olave, kind of a lot of this. And Jeremy Ruckert, talk about him, a beast from Ohio State who's held it down for it feels like a decade is how long he's been.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say
It's been like 4 or 5 seasons, but the entire time, I mean, he was your go-to guy from JT Barrett to Cardale Jones to Justin Fields to CJ Stroud. The dude has worked with 5 different quarterbacks. Not to mention, I think he worked with Braxton Miller before the injury.
I think so.
At least that's how long this feels like he's been here.
Yeah.
I think
Jets
that's
killed it.
Still getting him in as an undrafted.
Jets really killed it.
I think they did.
That's beast of the week. Hopefully they can show for it.
I agree.
I really like to see the Jets do good. So hopefully they can do that. But all right, that's gonna do it here for the Casual Sports Podcast. Be tuned to watch Power Hour coming up next on YSN Live. We'll see y'all tomorrow.